Hey guys, Sneaky Snake here, brothers in arms, World of Warships, and today's video we're going to take a look at a great game that my friend Scylla from the APOC Dash clan had in the Asashio, the Tier 8 Premium Japanese Destroyer. He's playing by himself, and it's some domination here on the map Shatter. So if you'd like to send a replay into us, please send it to BIAworldofwarships, all lowercase, @gmail.com. Please include the replay file, post-game screenshots if you have them, a brief description of the battle, and then if you'd like myself or Spider to do the commentary, you can request for that in the submission too. So, the Asashio, this is one of the most controversial ships in the game, honestly, ever. It's probably on the same playing field as the Belfast and the Graf Zeppelin, and for good reason. This is a ship that has rubbed people the wrong way quite a bit, and I'll discuss that in a little bit, but this is a ship that the community just doesn't really care for, and quite frankly, I wasn't a fan of it when it was being super tested and, you know, all the various CCs were doing their first impressions on it, and unfortunately, it didn't really receive many of the changes that the vast majority of the community wanted, but I'm not really going to say much more about that. I'm just going to go on to the stats of the ship, and you're also going to see an excellent replay here from Scylla. He's going to give you a masterclass of Japanese destroyer gameplay in a nutshell, because all of the Japanese destroyers, besides the Akazuki really, kind of have the same basic playstyle. You can summarize them as being very stealthy, relatively fast, having pretty good maneuverability. They trade gun performance, at least in terms of DPM, for having best of tier or near top tier torpedo performance. And that's a good way to generalize. Now, the Asashio does take it to a bit of an extreme, but again, let's just take a look at the stats here and see what this thing is capable of. The main battery, of course, the reload is just over 7 seconds. You do have 6 of these guns, 130 millimeters in caliber, but, you know, at the end of the day, this thing isn't going to win a gunfight against a German DD, it's not going to win a gunfight against a Soviet DD, and it's especially not going to win a gunfight against an American destroyer. So this thing, you know, you got to be careful when you're around the caps, and you can see here Scylla is indeed over on the C cap, and just because you're not a gunboat doesn't mean that you shouldn't still play the objectives, and I'm really happy to see that right at the beginning of the game he decided to go get on C, but because there's a friendly Haborovsk on C now, he's now going to do the right play here on Shatter, and it's very good to go well to the east of the C cap, because what you're able to do is get a nice angle for torpedoes to try to launch down the 7, 8, and 9 line, and being able to do so generally is going to land you quite a few torpedo hits. Now, of course, the torpedoes here. The Asashio's torpedoes, again, these are the most controversial aspects of the ship, and I'm just going to go over here real quickly. You get 8 torpedoes, you know, 2 quadruple launchers, so it's very similar to the Kagero and the Yagumo. However, you can see on the consumables at the bottom, he has access to both smoke and torpedo reload boosters. So this thing is able to launch 16 torpedoes in a matter of seconds, and it's pretty ridiculous the amount of damage that these things do. 20,967 on a maximum roll. They have a very healthy speed of 67 knots, and they have a range of 20 kilometers. The reason why this ship is so controversial is because these torpedoes basically harken back to the old days when the Shimakaze ran amok on all of the servers and basically tortured every single matchmaking server with, you know, there'd be 3 or 4 on each team. And again, I'm exaggerating a little bit here, but my buddy Puddin played a lot, and he was a closed beta tester, and there were just Shimakazes everywhere dropping 20-kilometer torpedoes. And these things have a surface detectability range of 0.9 kilometers. So, basically speaking, when these torpedoes get spotted, well, you're already screwed. There's really nothing that you're going to be able to do to dodge these things. And because they're deep water torpedoes, you know, detecting them is very difficult. They just sort of pop up on you without a moment's notice, and all of a sudden you're eating 3 or 4 torpedoes. And, you know, I get the argument. It's not really that cool, but hey, it's in the game, so you just got to have to deal with it. You can see here he dropped his first torpedo salvo downrange at the Alabama. The Alabama slowed down a little bit, probably trying to use the smokescreen. The Kutuzov did manage to lay it. Now, of course, because these are deep water torpedoes, as I call them, those torps are not going to hit the Kutuzov, and the Alabama, as he picks up the assisted base capture, looks like he's going to eat 3 torpedoes, 1 on the stern, 1 on the bow, and 1 right in the amidships. And you can see 37,000 points of damage dealt to that guy, and the Alabama has a pretty nice torpedo belt, so that was a very good salvo. And then he used his torpedo reload booster to drop his other 8 set of fish downrange at the enemy Montana. Now you're going to see here the Z-23 comes around the corner and bumps into him, so he immediately uses his smoke screen, but of course he's not going to sit there because you know torpedoes are incoming. And then he's going to do something that a lot of Japanese destroyer players don't even bother doing. Look at that! He's using his guns, does over 1,000 damage, sets a fire, and forces that Z-23 to use his smoke screen, and then moves out of the way of the inevitable torpedo assault that was coming, and he is A-OK. So far, he's already doing a few things that a lot of Japanese destroyer players don't do. Getting on the caps, trying to help your team get the zone taken care of, and then, of course, using your guns to deal some damage and to, shoot at other destroyers. He also manages another trio of torpedoes there on that Montana, and just look at that. Another 37-ish K salvo on that guy, chunking him down about half hit points from where he was originally at. That was an excellent salvo, and right there, using the torpedo reload booster to drop salvos of torpedoes at 2 different battleships has resulted in chunking down 2 American BBs on that side of the map, and now the enemy's push is most certainly going to stall over there on that side of the map. So, using the consumables that he has at his disposal to great effect, and you saw both of those battleships, there was just no way for them to get out of the way. There was just no way. You know, it's those things, like I said, they just crawl up on you so quickly, and it's something that does get rather annoying to deal with. Anyway, you can see there, 2 more of his friendly ships die, so he's down. Well, now one of the enemy ships, the Montana, does get burned down by the Donskoy. So his team has lost 3. The enemy team has lost 1. It's still 247 to 350. His team is getting 3 points, of course, because he was able to help capture the C objective. And now he's going to get onto the B objective as the friendly Yami manages to kill the Chapayev with secondaries. And again, Japanese destroyers, they're not the best gunboats, sans the Akazuki, but that doesn't matter. Get on the caps, help your team out. You know, support your other friendly destroyers, because a 2v1, if 2 DDs are going against 1, and let's say the 2 DDs are both Japanese, it's still extremely difficult, because when you have 2 sets of guns shooting at you, you know, these things do have pretty nice alpha damage, as I alluded to earlier on their guns. If they hit you, it's gonna hurt. I mean, a Japanese destroyer is capable of tossing down a salvo that does over 3,000 damage if all of the shells hit and penetrate, so you know, it's something that you definitely need to take into consideration when you're going into a gunfight. And a guy like Scylla here, who is not afraid to use his guns in the right situations, well, it makes it even more deadly. Now, right here, he's dropping another salvo of 8 torpedoes downrange at the enemy North Carolina, as he has 10 seconds left trying to capture the beat objective. And if you guys haven't noticed, if I sound a little sick, pardon me. It's the spring weather in Ohio, and I haven't been around here for quite a while, so this is unfortunately what I've been dealing with here for the past couple days. Anyway, he picks up the solo base cap there in B, as his team does manage to take the lead. It's 319 to 280. And you can see here these torpedoes are looking true on the North Carolina. Looks like that guy's going to eat quite a few torpedoes. And again, these are just going to crawl up on him so fast, he would get them spotted right about now. And at that point, he's going to eat 4 torpedoes. The North Carolina is a Stockholm North Cal, and he gets the full health deletion with 4 torpedoes, picking up the devastating strike on that Tier 8 American battleship. And all of a sudden, 10 torpedo hits, 132,000 points of damage. He is having a wonderful game so far, and there's still plenty more work that needs to be done. So he uses his second torpedo reload booster of the game, and he decides to dump his next set of 8 fish downrange at the enemy Alabama, who appears to try to be coming around the corner of that island at about 7 kilometers away. So right there, I mean, if this isn't textbook Japanese destroyer gameplay, then I don't know what is. Most of the damage dealt with the torpedoes, of course, and just really solid, accurately placed torpedo salvos, doing a lot of work. And there's some more going after the Alabama. Hopefully he's going to be able to manage some more hits, and it certainly looks like it here as we're following these torpedoes here on the torpedo cam. Some shells going in on the Alabama. We're going to go away from that, and I think 2 of these are going to hit the guy, 1 at the stern and 1 at the rear. Yes, sir. 20,000 damage dealt. Another solid chunk there on the second Alabama here in the game for the enemy team. And now Skylaw is once again going to make the team play here. He's going to try to get on the A cap. He will get spotted coming around the corner. I think he's at 5.6 kilometers. Nope, never mind. It has a 5.4 kilometer detection range if you go fully spec'd for concealment. So this Asashio, of course, living up to its stereotype, it is a very sneaky destroyer. A lot of the Japanese destroyers are the sneakiest tier for tier in the game. And now he's going to try and get his 3rd base cap of the game. Started out at C, got the assisted, came over to B, got the solo base cap, and now it looks like he's going to get yet another assisted base cap here in the A cap. And guys, I'm serious about this. There are so many Asashio players, there are so many Japanese destroyer players in general that really never try to get on the caps. They never try to play the objective. They just want to sit there at range and drop all of their torpedoes. And there's a time and place for it, don't get me wrong. But if you're in doubt about what to do, go try to help your team out on a cap. I know that this is not a gunboat. I know that the vast majority of Japanese DDs are not gunboats, but it's something that you just need to get comfortable with, because there's times where your team really needs you to get on the cap. And I know this might sound a little elementary, me saying this out loud in this video, but you just see it so often. At least I do. I see so many Japanese DD players that just don't understand when you're playing domination that you need to get on the caps, even if you're not a gunboat. Just by you being there, it creates a problem for the enemy team, because one, they're not going to be able to cap it, and two, obviously they're going to have to worry about torpedoes coming their way. So, you know, it really does matter. At this point, his team's up 523 to 163. They've killed a whole bunch more enemy ships. They only have 6, but the enemy team only has 5, and they've been able to accrue a nice points lead, in no small part due to Scylla, because he was able to get on the C cap early and then the B cap, and all of those points have been ticking now for the last few minutes. In the case of the C cap, well, they were able to get quite a few points out of that. So he's going to move into position here. There's still a Rune, there's still a Kutuzov, there's still a Z-23. I haven't mentioned it yet, but obviously it's pretty common knowledge. The Asashio torpedoes are not able to touch cruisers and destroyers. So those guys, you really do need support from your team to be able to take care of business, unless, of course, they're on like a sliver of health. And then at that point, it's like, well, who cares? You can destroy them with your guns. The Ibuki takes care of the Kutuzov, so now it's a 6 versus 3. Excuse me, hold on. I'm sorry, guys. I really do apologize for this. You can see there's an enemy Alabama that is last spotted at F8, I believe, and now there we go. Scylla manages to detect him about 11 kilometers off of his bow. So now he's going to turn to his right side, and he's getting ready for another torpedo salvo. The dude with tank, that's a great name. Looks like he's turning bow in at about 9.7 kilometers. Unfortunately, the Z-23 does detect Scylla here, so he's going to have to drop his torpedoes, but he makes the right play. He turns away from the Z-23 because, of course, that guy has hydro range of about 4.4, 4.5 kilometers. So by turning away, he's going to put himself out of the range of the hydro if the Z-23 decided to use it. And he is now undetected, of course, as he launches all 16 torpedoes downrange at the Alabama. And you know that you found a good Japanese destroyer captain when they've used all of their consumables by the end of the game. He's used all of his speed boosts, he's used all of his torpedo reload boosts, and now you can see here 2,700 points of damage on the Z-23. Utilizing his guns, he's now going to shoot right at the very bow, and that's where you're going to get even more nice damage. Another salvo, 2,970. You can see the alpha damage that he's able to do to this German destroyer is very impressive. At 2.6 kilometers, the Z-23 is still backing up, still shooting his guns at him, getting more damage, manages to destroy the Alabama and pick up the high caliber with 2 more torpedoes that slammed home. The Z-23 decided for some reason that it was a better idea to launch his torpedoes instead of shooting the guns, and he allowed Scylla to chunk him down to about half hit points. And again, you saw there, the alpha damage on the side of that German DD is pretty impressive if you know where to shoot. The best places are right at the stern and right at the bow underneath the front turret or turrets. That's where the meaty section of the DD is across most designs, and you're going to be able to get some really solid salvos there on them. Utilizing the rear turrets once again, another pretty decent salvo, 1,782. The Z-23 does decide to respond to him, but right there, he actually traded with that German destroyer exceptionally well. And, I mean, that was pretty embarrassing on the Z-23's part, but I digress. He did trade very nicely, and then it looks like the Khabarovsk on his friendly team is going to be able to finish off this game, take care of business. We'll see here. Scylla decides to reposition himself, come around the corner, and as a matter of fact, he picks up the 3rd kill of the game and ends it here on Shatter. Alrighty guys, taking a look now at the post-battle results. 849,000 credits received and 26,014 total experience earned and 4.5k free XP. This was most definitely a first win of the day. He picked up Devastating Strike and High Caliber, dealing 188,700 damage off of 33 shell hits and 14 torpedoes. He sank 3 enemy ships, 2 fires, 2 floodings, 1 solo base cap, and 2 assisted base captures. Taking a look at the team score, 2,876 base experience, easily tops on the team. That is a very solid performance here in the Asashio. Taking a look at the detailed report, 14k with the main battery, about 2,700 other, and the very vast majority, 171,000 damage dealt off of 14 torpedoes that hit the mark. So that 14 out of 48 torpedoes launched in total. That is a very good hit ratio. And again, you can see the distance traveled, almost 70 kilometers going around. He amounted for 134 of his team's 181 capture points. That is some very awesome stuff. So Skylaw, thank you for sending in the replay. This was a pleasure and a joy to watch, and hopefully you guys out there watching this video got a good idea of how to play the Asashio properly and got a pretty decent, a class in Japanese destroyers in general. So with that being said, this is, of course, the Sneaky Snake here for Brothers in Arms, World of Warships signing off. Guys and gals, please consider giving the video a like, commenting on it, subbing, or sharing it with your friends, whatever you want to do. Thank you for your support to our channel, and have a great day.